Hey guys, CQ here, and welcome to PCW Rewind. This is where we get to take a look back at some of my all-time favorite interviews and guest appearances from my live show, Pop Culture Warrior. As always, you can catch us live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. on pretty much every social media platform. Just search for WTF Nation Radio. And keep an eye out because we've got a lot of surprises coming in store and some great guests coming up. In this episode, I talked with a legend from the world of comedy, a guy who's been in movies, on TV, stages around the world, Louie Anderson. We talked about everything from his childhood, why he got into comedy, his early career, the ups, the downs, and everything in between. He was an absolutely phenomenal guest, and just a great human being overall. I really enjoyed our talk, and I'm hoping, no, in fact, I know you will too. So without further ado, please enjoy the Pop Culture Warrior interview of Louie Anderson. But my guest tonight is one of the country's most recognized and adored comics, a three-time Emmy Award winner. He was named by Comedy Central as one of the 100 greatest stand-up comedians of all time. His career has spanned more than 30 years. He's a best-selling author, a star of multiple stand-up specials, sitcoms, TV shows, and he continues to tour around the country, nationwide, worldwide even. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Louie Anderson.
Hey, what's going on?
There he is. Man, you look fantastic, first of all.
Culture Warrior!
Thank you for that. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, we're going to hire you to do our next commercial, so we appreciate that. You look fantastic, by the way. Thank you so much for coming on.
You look fantastic, and you are, we had a talk on a Zoom call we did, and you invited me on. I was honored, and my dad was a veteran, and I'm all about the veterans. I've done lots of different things. I did the Desert Storm when they came home, and they did a special, and Barbara and George Bush Sr. Were on it, and I got in a little trouble because I introduced when they introduced me. We were welcoming back the Desert Storm. I said I'd like to also welcome back the Vietnam vets. I got a little heat from that, but I thought we never really welcomed them back. Or at least I didn't think so. So.
Well, hey, I appreciate you so much. And I was going to start out with, I always, obviously we interview a lot of actors, directors, comedians, different people. The first thing I always ask is, being that we're a military-focused themed show, what's your connection to the military? And obviously, I know your dad. Do you want to touch on that, or?
Yeah, sure. My dad, I was just an Ancestry.com looking at his going into the Army, his draft card, not draft card, his, the first thing you sign. I forget. I'm sorry, I don't have the correct
You're fine.
thing for that, but his registration, saying why he was there when he got out and all those things. And I think it looked like he was there a couple of different times. And I know he lied about his age. He was 15, and you had to have your signatures thing. Mm-hmm. And he made his parent, his dad, his stepdad, adopted dad, sign for him to go in the service. And then he became a bugler. And when he got out, he became a trumpet player. And there was a quite successful jazz trumpet player. And so he had a real life, and he was a wounded veteran and disabled veteran. And I think that's the original thing they used to say, is the disabled, but now I think it's wounded. I think that's the more appropriate one. And my brother Roger was in the Marines, and my nephews have been in the service, and so I have a lot of respect. My dad always talked about supporting veterans, and always was proud of the fact that he was a veteran, and passed that on to me, and I'm humbled by the idea that somebody is out there protecting me, men and women who don't know me. And what an honor it is to be on your show.
Oh, the honor is all mine, sir. And obviously the fans are literally, and again, I'm not going to toot any horns here. We've had some noteworthy folks come on, but this week, as we've talked about, oh my God, Louie Anderson is going to come on. I have been inundated with people going, oh my God, I love Louie. Oh my God, I loved, Life with Louie in the show. And I loved him in.
All right.
So yeah, they love it. The movies, the stand-up specials, the appearances. I mean, it's all phenomenal stuff. And you have a pretty active social media as well. So, you're always engaging. And everybody's been super excited for you to come on. So thank you.
Thank you.
So let me start with it. So you're born in St. Paul, Minnesota. You are the 10th out of 11 children.
I know.
I mean, it seems like it writes itself for comedy. I mean, it's how could you not get into comedy is the question.
Yeah. I think it's true. I think it's just, in a big family, you take it all in, especially if you're 10th of 11. And I had a little brother, Tommy, my baby brother, who was part of the cartoon. And when we did the cartoon, we just did a few characters because, it would be so difficult to highlight 11 people, but all my brothers and sisters in my heart, and they were all part of that. And everything I do in my stand-up, I try to honor them. I make fun of them, but I make most fun of myself first, so that it, that carries. And I'm really lucky in the cartoon. My dad talked about, being in the war all the time and veterans, and and I'm proud of it. That cartoon played in 18 countries, and I'll see people in Romania with a Life with Louie tattoo and stuff like that. I'm always humbled by the idea that somebody halfway around the world is seeing this stuff. Of course, now it's we're halfway around the world doing this. I'm sure there are lots of veterans out there, and we always talk about helping the veterans, but I think we miss the mark. I think I think we could do a lot more. I love, Jon Stewart's doing some stuff.
Oh yeah,
that's really fantastic. I just signed a petition for something he put out there, and
the burn pits.
I remember taking my dad to the Veterans Hospital and him getting care there, and in Minneapolis, and also in Reno, Nevada, at the end of his life. And I remember, meeting a lot of veterans. And then I have been here in Nevada up to the Veterans Hospital and have visited a lot of veterans. And I always leave there with a great pride and a humility, because, I know the sacrifice, because you go there and you see the sacrifice, and you see what people. But my dad had a good sense of humor, and he passed that on to me, and so did my mom. And so I try to put it even in things that were serious. I try to get the humor in there.
Right. So obviously you have a career that spans, I mean, as old as I am. I mean, it's incredible. And I say that in the kindest way possible.
That's all right. Yeah. You don't realize that you're, all one day I said that the October 10th, this last October 10th, I celebrated my 42nd year doing stand-up comedy, which is amazing that I'm still working. I'm really grateful.
Yeah.
My fans have been so good to me. They've really been good to me. And I've had a great career. I've always tried to, do the best I can, especially I really do love my fans. I never refused anyone especially in the last, 20, 25 years, ever refused anyone an autograph for a picture. I just, it's who I am. I don't judge anyone who doesn't want to do it.
Right.
But, I feel obligated. I feel blessed that somebody wants to take a picture with me.
I completely understand. And I think that, especially in the entertainment industry, it's notorious, especially over the last, let's say, 10, 15 years, the turnover rate is incredible. Obviously, shorter attention spans and, needing to be quicker and funnier and on the edge. And what's been yours? How do you stay relevant? How do you, just maintain such a great career?
French fries.
That's the secret.
I don't care. I don't care how hip you are, how relevant you are, how hip, relevant, cool. I don't care. Everybody loves French fries. But it's. I just try to talk about, things that are real for me. I'm really happy. I've made it 82 days. I'm working really hard on my health right now. 82 days without any fast food,
wow,
which is amazing to me. And I only have 7,000 more days to go, but still, I think it. I think it is. To be quite honest with you, I think what you see is what you get. I just try to appeal to people. What's funny to me, I hope is funny to them,
Yeah. I think you've always, in everything I've seen a ton of your stand-up, as a guy who I just adore stand-up, and I think it's such a great skill and craft.
It's not a great thing. I mean, I'm humble. How about all the great stand-ups that are out there?
Yeah, there's hundreds, thousands even. And your comedy has always come across as authentic, as from the heart, as from the homeland, as it were, in where that sometimes, comedians struggle to find their voice, find their niche, find their, their outlet. But man, I look back at the 1984 when you hit the stage on the Tonight Show, and I mean, you crushed it. I've never seen such a big reaction off of like your first 4 words. It was just so phenomenal. Which one of my favorite parts of that bit was when you did the broad jump and I crushed her or I killed her. Oh my God, that was to this day.
A joke like that. You can't do that joke anymore. But you're right. I think my first joke there was I can't stay long in between meals.
That's right.
So that was really, and then I was off and running. I had worked on that Tonight Show set for, for a few years to make sure my very first Tonight Show set was a killer. And I got really lucky. And that's when, back then almost all the TVs, at least half of them were on the Tonight Show. And so
there was only so many channels.
Yeah.
So you had a good chance of being in someone's home. I'm just curious, do you still remember what the feeling? You're behind the curtain, you're about to step out. Do you remember that feeling? Can you describe it?
Yeah, I was backstage and I'd watched that curtain 1,000 times. Watched that act that was on the Tonight Show come out from that curtain. And so I did what any good Midwesterner would do. I reached out and felt that curtain. I felt the material. I said, I got to feel this because my mom's going to say, what was that material made out of? And I remember that. I remember all of a sudden, we're just back there. I was with the talent coordinator, and then the band was blaring and it started to die down, and a big spotlight lit up the front of that curtain that I was behind. And he said to me, you ready? I go, I've never been more ready. And I walked out. I looked you can see it if you watch that Tonight Show. I looked down for that. There's an X where that would be my spot. I went out there, stopped for a second, hit that spot and delivered my first joke. And then I don't really remember until the end.
It's all blacked out. So I've talked to so many comedians that like their first big set or the first time they're in front of the crowd, it's a blackout. Like you remember stepping up, you did your set, good or bad, and then the first time I went on stage, it's the same thing. I could not tell you. My only memories of it are from the videos that people recorded of it. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's an overwhelming experience. My whole life I've been waiting to do it. I did it. I went back to my dressing room. I took a bow, went back to my dressing room, and on the way back, somebody said to me, "Johnny wants you back." What? He wants you back out there. And so I went back out, and I shook his hand, took another bow, and it was just like, it was such a great acknowledgement. And then afterwards, Johnny was coming down the halls are pretty small back at the Tonight Show back then. And he had 2 or 3 guys around it. Johnny always had bodyguards because he used to get death threats because he'd do political stuff. And he leans in my little dressing room area and says, "Great set, great shot, Louie. Good job." And I was like, "Whoa, that's Johnny Carson, baby."
And I mean,
it was a mirror. It felt like felt surreal, but very satisfying.
I can't imagine. And obviously you got welcomed back many times and you did many appearances. I mean, I'm just curious, like you said, you nailed that first appearance. It's something you had honed for a long time. How soon are you going back up there, and were you as prepared the second time?
I was. I'll tell you a funny story. I couldn't get on the Tonight Show for a couple years. They wouldn't let me on. The guy who booked it didn't like me. And so that's how life is, though. You have to wait it out sometimes. And during that time, I prepared another 8 Tonight Shows. So I always tell people, you cannot be too prepared to become famous or popular or
successful.
Just remember that you should be preparing for your success, not waiting for it, because you have to believe it's going to happen. And for me, it was a 2 years, horrible 2 years of waiting. I had lots of offers to do other shows, and I wouldn't. I was holding out for the Tonight Show because that's the American Idol, the HGT.
Yeah.
It's all those shows, wrapped up into one. Those shows, are what are today, and and rightly so. They're big hits, and they can really showcase people who are talented.
Sure.
But back then, if you got a handshake from Johnny Carson on camera, that changed your whole life. The next day, my whole life was changed.
Yeah, makes or breaks careers right there. So obviously you've traveled doing your comedy. My God, I couldn't fathom, I couldn't calculate the hundreds of thousands of miles you've traveled. I was reading a little something and I found a strange tidbit that you travel with a lot of knickknacks, a lot of things, but that you also travel with a thermometer and blood pressure cuff. Is that true?
Yes, I'm a hypochondriac.
So how
look at now? Guess who was prepared for the pandemic?
I was kind of leading you down that road.
I had the blood pressure.
I was gonna say that I was leading you there, that you beat everyone to it. While we're scrambling to get supplies, here you are traveling with it. How has it been? For somebody that's a hypochondriac that says he is, how has this whole ordeal been for you?
Well, I've gone through different ups and downs during it because, I'll be honest with you. I am a very vulnerable person to this pandemic. I'm overweight, high blood pressure. I smoked for years. I did all the things that I shouldn't. But so I had a few real panic things where I would go, oh my God, I can't do anything, go anywhere. And, I meet somebody and I just was, constantly worried about, I was going to get it. And then, I read quite a bit about it. I still don't do much. I don't go anywhere. I don't know group things. I've seen people, but always from a distance. My friend got married and he asked me to be his best man. And I said, okay, he's a wonderful thing, a wonderful person. And I knew that it was a big honor for him to ask me, and I was honored by it. So he got married at the Elvis Chapel in Vegas, and I've been there. And I said, well, how many people? And he said, just be 4 people. My mom, my fiance, me, you, well, 5 actually, or
with
6.
Elvis, yeah.
The people marrying, that thing.
Sure.
And so I did it. I was masked up. I had goggles on. I was
full hazmat suit.
Careful, but I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I got out because you have to. I couldn't miss it. I've been friends with him since the 90s, and he used to watch my shows at Bally's. He was the valet guy, and we became really good friends. And he did lots of TV shows. He did Mystery Diner, and I bet I can't name all the shows, but he's the producer, and he's done John Pepper is his name, and he's just the greatest guy, a sweet thing. His dad was also a horn player who played in Vegas here. His mom, I'm very connected to his family, so.
Very nice. Very nice. No, I can't imagine what that's, we want you healthy. We want you around for a lot longer. Please stay safe while you do this. So let me ask you this, you've traveled around the world. You've done all these things. Is there any kind of crazy stories that stick out in your mind from all the years of travel?
Well, I mean, yeah. Of course.
And by the way, you don't have to censor yourself for this show, so you can take this anywhere you want to go with it.
Well, I had a lot of great experiences. I had 2 different experiences in Japan. I went to Okinawa and did shows for the Marines, and that was a great experience. And I had a lot of fun. And I even asked somebody to make me fatigues, because that was like a Bob Hope thing to me.
Sure.
I used to watch Bob Hope do those, and I did that. But one time in 1984, ABC did a show called The Look of 84. And John Powers, I think, or someone like that, who had a modeling thing, had all these girls who were going to be Miss 1984, the look of 84, right? So we went to Atomi, I think it's Atami, Atomi, Japan. I probably have it wrong, and I'm sorry about that. And I said, well, how am I going to do stand-up comedy for the crowd? And they go, we're going to bring merchant marines in for the show. I go, oh, good. Okay, good. So we go to tape the show. It was really a lot of fun. And the day of the show, there's a typhoon watch. And so none of the merchant marines could come. So I had a completely non-English speaking Japanese audience, and they did not understand what I was saying. And I looked to the producer. I go, I don't think they get it. And we're taping it. And then I put my hand on my stomach for some reason, and they laughed. So I just kept putting my hand on my stomach, and because I think maybe they thought I was sumo, and I was Lumo. But anyways, and that was the weirdest experience because I'm doing these jokes that I know are great, and they just bombed. Nobody even knew what I was talking about. But so that was one of the experiences I had. That was it was really
well,
fun.
I don't even think you can call that a bomb. I mean, well, you're in a different language.
When you're up there.
Yeah.
Well, when you're up there, nobody is getting what you say. So
yeah. It's a very isolating experience when you're not getting the it's a one-man show, but there's a give and take from the audience, right? So I'm sure you felt alone up there.
I did, but I went with it. I laughed about it because if there's one thing I learned in life, I learned a lot more in doing bad shows than I ever learned by people saying to me, "Great show." Mm. I never learned anything from that, and I appreciated it, and I was happy to hear it, but I never learned anything. But every bad show, I always learned something, like what I could do better the next time, and stuff like that.
That's a phenomenal.
Now aren't you doing stand-up?
I've dabbled. I did a couple of shows, but this isn't about me. Come on, Louie, this isn't about me.
No, but I mean, I just want to say something about people who want to do stand-up, okay?
Yeah.
Or anything that they want to do. They should go do it.
Absolutely.
And you have to do it 100 times stand-up wise before you get an idea of how to do stand-up. You have to do it at least 100 stand-ups. Mm-hmm. And I always think it builds that muscle for you. And be fearless. Go try things so that you're not sitting around later in life and going, I wish I would have tried that.
Absolutely.
And especially, who knows, my big worry is, are we ever going to get back to the crowds the way it used to be? And I think not, but I think people are being really creative. They're doing shows outside.
Yeah.
They're doing shows of a limited audience.
Online shows I've seen.
Really cool. I'm thinking about doing a virtual New Year's Eve show in Minnesota because I've been doing a stand-up show in Minnesota on New Year's for 29 years in a row.
Yeah. Got to make it 30.
Got to make it 30, baby.
Yeah. Hey, if you do a Zoom call with stand-up show, I'll be there. I'll bring the audience. That would be phenomenal. We got a couple of questions from the audience that I've been sitting on here. So
let's do it.
From Mike Larson, what's been harder for you, writing a book or writing your stand-up material?
The book. Because, was it Mike?
Yes, Mike.
Mike, I was a terrible student. So I'm really dumb with English. But I write from my heart, and then I ask somebody to help me, clean it up, ghostwriter. On my last book, Andrew Postman, a New York writer, wonderful New York writer, I did a book called Hey Mom, and he really helped me with that book. That book would have never got finished if it wasn't for, and that, that's all I'll say. Andrew Postman helped me get that done. And, but I think the book writing, because stand-up comes natural to me. It's just there for me, you know?
Sure. It's a second skill. It's a sixth sense, as it were. It's just there.
Yeah.
Okay, we got another one from Bronco. What was his most gut-busting, funniest moment of his career? So, what was the quintessential, most epic, funny moment of your career that you can recall? Putting you on the spot for 30, 40 plus years.
I guess when I would have to go on after like Robin Williams or Sam Kinison, or guys like that, these guys are screaming, they're doing their comedy, they're talking about everything. And I come out and say, do you like butter? And I guess winning those people over at the Comedy Store after Sam Kinison And after Robin and people like that, I'm trying to think of something that more is on the embarrassing gut busting. You know, if I bust my gut, then there's going to be a mess in the house. But let's see. I don't have one particular thing. I guess that thing there in Japan. Here's people always would mistake me for other entertainers, John Candy and Chris Farley, and I would always sign the autograph. I never argued with them. They go, "Hi, Mr. Candy, how are you?" I go, "I'm good, I'm great." And then I would sign their name and then put "F-U, John Candy." So, and they would look at it and walk away and look at it. And I go, "Okay, have a good one. See you later."
Was that you messing with the fan or kind of trying to mess with the person that they mistaked you for?
No, I love John Candy. He was lovely. Chris Farley, lovely people. I was trying to be funny. Like, just like the last thing either of them would say in an autograph was that. And I love both those guys. I miss both of them. So
yeah, it's it's unfortunate. Sometimes you rise to a certain level of fame and stardom, and that star burns a little too bright. So,
well, they were wonderful, complicated people, you know.
Absolutely. Let's see, we got some more questions. What comedians have influenced you in your either growing up or through your career?
Well, Jack Benny, Bob Hope, Johnny Carson, Jackie Vernon, Richard Pryor was a huge influence on me. And people go, "Well, you have such a different act than Richard Pryor." But one thing, Richard Pryor, I watch him at the Comedy Store when he would work. And there's a great documentary on Showtime right now, the Comedy Store that I'm in, and a lot of people are in, and the history of it. And anyways, I'd be in the back, and Richard Pryor would be like, he'd be so wide open. You know, just his heart would be out there. Everything about him would be just wide open. And I go, wow, he's just being so honest and forthright and super funny.
Sure.
But I would watch him. He would start out with a joke and there'd be nothing going on. And then he would come the next night and there'd be a little something more come on. And then the next night, and it was such a process. Because jokes and stand-up cannot be practiced writing them.
Right.
They have to be practiced performing them. It's just like, I'm sure for you, you could learn all you want in basic training, but once you get out into the field, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not comparing
it's
military service.
It's fine. It's fine.
But I'm just saying, unless you're in it, you can't make it better. You can't get sharper. You can't get crisper. You can't. You gotta go for it.
Yeah, there's an invaluable lesson and experience for actually going through it. Was the famous quote by Mike Tyson: "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." Right? So
yeah, I saw a lot of his fights. You know, Mike. I know Mike. He's a lovely person and funny, and I just love what he took. It didn't all go easy for him, but he still is resilient and he still keeps going, and I have a lot of respect for that. And he's a really interesting human being.
He is. There's another question. Is there, and I think you kind of touched on this in that, like, don't have regrets, but is there anything over the course of your career that you wish you could do over?
I wish I would have taken more acting lessons. I wish I would have listened to people who gave me advice that was good advice. I wish I would have worked on my health sooner. And I wish I would have been friends with my dad and more friends with my mom. I was friendly with my mom, but I wish I would have had better relationships with the people. I always say, if your family is still around, you should try to be forgiving if you can and let go of some stuff. I'm not saying it's possible in every situation, but I give anything to be able to sit down right now and tell my dad that I was on your show and talk to him about how it felt and ask him more about what he went through during his military service. I wish I would have been able to ask my mom, how was it having 11 children? And, you know, what did you want to become, Mom? Who did you want to be before you met Dad?
Yeah. Right there. I lost my mom many years ago, and I think about that all the time because it was, again, not about me, but it was in that age where I'm like, you know, I'm my own man. And then you look back and you go, wow, these are real people that I wish I could know better and I could ask these questions. So I completely understand.
I tell you what, it was helpful to me in both those, with both my mom and my dad. I wrote letters to them long after they died. And it really helped me a lot to get it all out.
Yeah. It's funny enough. We always kind of, in all my interviews, we always kind of tend to touch on mental health and how important it is. And especially as men, you know, where there's that toxic masculinity of where, you know, tough it out and don't talk about your feelings. We don't cry and all these things. You know, how big has kind of your own mental health played a part? You know, what do you do to stay mentally healthy?
Well, I go to meetings. I go to some 12-step meetings, and they're really helpful. But, you know, I did a lot of therapy, and therapy really made my life much easier. And I encourage people to reach out, and especially people who are really struggling and suffering. You know, don't do something that's permanent when you are dealing with a temporary problem, because all the worry and anguish that you go through will eventually subside. It will pass, hopefully, especially if you reach out.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I just think we don't put enough. I mean, we end up dealing with mental health one way or another.
Right.
We either help people get help with professionals and group settings and treatment and drugs or whatever they need, or we end up dealing with them when they've gone crazy or run out in the street or committed a crime or got involved with drugs or all those things. People don't seek out to cause trouble or to hurt other people. They're usually reacting to the hurt that is inside of them. Yeah. And they're crying out for help. And we just are, for a country that wants to hear stuff, this is what we should be listening to. You know, we should be putting everything into trying to take care of those people. You know, mental health is a big problem in my family, and I just think that we're missing the boat on it. I know that we've got to be able to find a way to help people reach out and get some help.
Absolutely. I that's why I appreciate when, you know, we've had directors who come on and, like yourself, open up about it and talk about it. It's huge because when you have a platform like you do and very small like I do, you know, we want to let people know that it's okay. And if you need help, it's okay to speak up, and we all need to focus on our own mental health. I know you're a big proponent for charities. You've done stuff with the 9/11, the Widows Fund. You co-founded the HERO, HERO, charity organization devoted to helping homeless people get back on their feet. Again, you continue this nicest guy in Hollywood kind of thing. You know, what drives you to do so much for others?
Well, I had a couple of brothers who were homeless at one point, and there was not about money. Is about the disconnection, and luckily I was able to see them, and they were able to get back into life and be close to their brothers and sisters, and and have a life, even though those things were hard for them. And so I guess that really is my driving force. It just is astounding to me that the homeless problem is so big right now.
Yeah.
And people always say, well, they want to be homeless. And I go, bullshit. The majority of those people do not want to be homeless. They are struggling. And I just think we just haven't figured out enough good ways to help those people.
Right.
And one time I was giving a homeless person, some money, and a friend of mine said, they're going to get drugs with that, right? I go, so would I if I were in this situation.
Right.
I go, I don't. And they go, well, you shouldn't give that to them. I say, I don't give them that money with any conditions on it. I'm not trying to get them to adhere what I want. I'm trying to relieve some of the pain they're in. Not to get drugs, but food or something that they need. Get a hotel or whatever it is. Mm. It's a huge problem.
True.
Huge.
No. Yeah, that I mean, it's, but with people like yourself and so many others, I try to do charity work when I can. It's a huge problem, but good people are making strides and hopefully will continue to do so. So I'd be remiss because I know I would get hell for this if I don't bring this up. One of the roles that obviously a lot of people know you for, and obviously he's kind of springboarded you, was your role in Coming to America, the Eddie Murphy movie. You played Maurice, the McDonald's employee. I know that you are in the sequel and that they're making a sequel. What has that been like to revisit this character?
Well, I have a tiny part, just like in the, I don't have a big part in either movie, but I had a big enough part that it seemed to make people happy.
Absolutely.
And, I know I'm on lettuce, but soon I'll be on fries and then assistant manager. And that's when the big bucks start rolling in.
There you go.
I know it's something. I didn't do all the right words, but. And then when I went back and saw Eddie and Arsenio and John Amos and all these wonderful people again, we all picked up right where we left off. And it was a joyful experience when I did the first one. And it was equally as joyful when I did the second one. I talked to Eddie about stand-up and getting back into stand-up. I had a nice talk with Arsenio and John Amos. Everybody is so great and so excited to be doing this wonderful movie that I think is going to be through the roof. I think people are going to go crazy for this movie.
Yeah.
And Eddie couldn't have been nicer to me. And Arsenio, I just loved it. I just had so much fun. And throughout my career, people would send cars for me, like limos and town cars, to make sure I got to the event on time, or a TV station or something. And many people who were from other countries would say to me, hey, man, you're the fry guy. I go, yeah. And they always say, I came to this country because of that movie.
Wow.
And I think, wow. I'm amazed by it.
You are a
and
part.
I'm so happy.
You're a part of the American dream.
Yeah. And, that's one of Eddie's best movies. And I just think, God, he did so many great movies and he's such a great person. really a terrific person.
Are you allowed to tell us a little bit about where Maurice is now? I mean, is he still at McDonald's? Can't say.
I signed a thing.
The NDA.
There's a guy outside of my house. He's got a hatchet.
Gotcha.
He cuts my hand off and takes all my valuables if I say anything.
Gotcha. Okay. But at least we know we'll get to see you. I think the last I saw is it was supposed to be released by Paramount. They sold it off to, because of, COVID and these things, they sold it to Amazon Prime. So we'll be seeing it. I think it's December something. It's coming out.
Yeah, it's a Christmas movie, man.
I'm super excited for it. I think that's so cool.
It's gonna be so good.
So, obviously another one that everyone knows you is for the cartoon. And I mean,
oh, is that so? What do you got? A radio show going on there? What is that? International?
Yeah,
huh?
Yeah. We're a little.
What's WTF? What does that mean?
It's a water cooler thing. You're fine. I love this. I mean, any thoughts? I'm sure. Right now we're living in an age where everything's getting rebooted, everything's getting remade, sequelized. I mean, I'm sure you've had some thought about maybe revisiting it. You still got the voice.
All right, I'm on WTF. Yes, we're working on trying to bring Life with Louie back, and we're really excited about it. And I can't tell you much more than that.
Right.
We're working on it right now, and there isn't a day that goes by that people, when I'm out, do not mention Life with Louie. And so I'm very proud of that cartoon. And I got to recreate my family, and I got to really, I'm just so, I just know people say, I go, I'm lucky. And they go, you worked hard. I go, I know, but you can work really hard. You still have to get a little lucky.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you mentioned it earlier too. You have to be ready for success, but it takes a certain amount of drive, grind, and definitely luck. Absolutely luck. I was pouring through kind of your TV, the stuff you've done, from Family Feud, all the different appearances on different shows. You even did, was it Splash, where you literally took a dive on reality TV, which I'm sure was a huge deal for you. Any of these moments that like really stand out for you?
Yeah, Splash was really great for me. In fact, I always looked at it as my chance to climb the gym rope in school,
right? That
I could never get up. It was my chance to kind of do that. And I dove off, and I'm afraid of heights. And I dove off a 33 foot, 10-meter diving thing. And also dove off one with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who's a wonderful friend. And it was so great for me. It was one of the things that invigorated me. And J.D. Roth, who did The Biggest Loser and a lot of shows on TV, he was the executive producer. And God, it was so much fun. I cannot tell you how much fun it was for a fat kid to be on SportsCenter.
I mean, there's a question in the chats, and that's why I kind of triggered this question, this thought is, for you, what's been the most, how did I end up here moment in your life? Like, how did I find myself in this situation?
I think when somebody says to me, your book or your TV show or your time on Splash or the thing you said that you don't even remember saying sometimes,
right,
changed their life. And I got it from Baskets. A lot of people who say to me, I wish that Christine Baskets was my mom.
Oh, wow.
And I just, I honored my mom with that part and found all kinds of stuff. But I guess the fact that tonight you wanted to talk to me, a fat kid from the projects of St. Paul, I think it says it all. How lucky I am, how grateful I am. And when I was talking about the homeless, a lot of veterans are homeless.
Yeah.
And we gotta get out there. If there's anything I can do to help that situation, I'm here. I'm ready to go. Whatever I can do to be helpful in any of those situations.
I'm sure somebody will hear it and want that help for sure.
But I guess the thing is that people that don't even know you are thankful for something that you said or did, or you inspired them in some way. And so it's emotional.
Yeah.
It's an emotional thing for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, it's so easy, I think, for celebrities, for talent, for personalities to say, "Oh, I'm so grateful for my fans," and it's like, yeah, they're happy and they're thankful. But I don't know, it comes across so genuine with you. It's like there's never a question like, are they though, like, or they just want the money, but like it pours out of you, much like the butter. So let me ask you this: you played in the 2006 World Series of Poker in Las Vegas, and what I read was you were eliminated in the first day and received a 10-minute penalty for foul language. Can you take me through that?
First of all, Poker Stars was nice enough to sponsor me to play in that tournament. That was a really nice thing. The second thing, you look at your cards long enough and you're not getting anything. You say, WTF. Well, I actually said it, though. And you can't say that at a poker table. And I got sanctioned. And it was a great experience. That lasted 12 hours. I'm a terrible poker player, but I certainly enjoy it and have a lot of fun. We grew up poor, so we had pennies, and we played for pennies and dimes and nickels. And we're always, when you're poor, you look at life differently than when you're not poor. When you're poor, you're trying to get somewhere usually, and I always wanted to get somewhere. Here I am.
Yeah, I completely understand you. Listen, I could talk to you for hours. This has been incredible, but I want to respect your time. I know you.
We'll do it again.
Absolutely. Anytime you want to sit and talk.
Let's do something again that we can. I had a wonderful time, honestly.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I want to give you the last couple, seconds, minutes here. If there's anything you want to promote, if there's, how can people find you and get connected with you? This is your platform now.
Well, first of all, I hope everyone votes. I think it's a great honor and right to get to vote in this democracy. I hope that if people want to see me, I'm at Louie Anderson on Twitter and Instagram, I think on everything. I got a big Life with Louie page on Facebook. People all over the world who love Life with Louie. I love my Instagram things where I do my workouts. I just always wonder this. Why can't I see these people and they have 100,000 followers. And I go, how do I get 100,000? I think I'm too nice. And people think, oh, he doesn't need it anymore. But I want to get 6 figures of followers. I enjoy social media. I try to ignore all the things that are hurtful. But I really enjoy it. I've connected with people on it. I've done some charity work through it. The holidays are coming. And I remember we used to get a basket from the church or the community center because we're poor with turkey and stuff in it. And I never forgot that. So during these holidays, if you could reach out, there's a lot of people who don't have anything to eat. So
Absolutely.
I'm working with four square. You know, I always get things mixed up. But here in Vegas, they have a very wonderful program of feeding people. And in Minnesota at Second Harvest and all over the country, there are lots of people. And man, I never forgot kindness that people bestowed on us.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, and we're gonna help you bump them numbers up. We're gonna get you some followers. We're gonna get all the WTF Nation Radio faithful. We're gonna make sure they all follow and subscribe and engage with you, buddy. I really thank you so much for being on this. We will absolutely do it again anytime you'd like. I'm gonna toss this to break here, but you just hang there so I can talk to you offline. But guys, this has been Louie Anderson, and what else do you want? We'll be right back after the break, guys.